Okay, humanities, here we go. We're in the home stretch of our religions unit, and I'm ready to get through this and get on to some other stuff because I have a lot of different random lessons that are going to be on the horizon where we're going to kind of branch out and hit a bunch of different topics. But before we do that, we've spent quite a bit of time on the Western religions that probably most of us are way more familiar with because Western religions permeate American culture, kind of where we've all grown up and lived through our life. So Christianity, Islam, Judaism, typically most students that be coming through my class or just living in America in general are going to be way more familiar with those religions, and they probably impact our day-to-day lives a little more. However, I think the Eastern religions, which would be like Hinduism, Buddhism, and then a bunch of other philosophies like Confucianism, are really interesting too. And there's a big disconnect for your average American person where we just don't get it and kind of understand the mindset and how radically different those religions are compared to what we're more used to here. Now, typically in the Eastern religions, they are going to be different. Buddhism and Hinduism are very different, although they both kind of come out of the area, the subcontinent of India. Both of those, they don't really look at, they're not a monotheistic religion. Especially Hinduism, which is what we're going to be looking at first. We're used to that monotheistic style religion where it's like there is one creator God that's keeping an eye on us and he controls the universe. Well, Hinduism is not like that at all. They have and honestly, I don't have a really in-depth or thorough knowledge of Hinduism. Like I said, this is the first time that I'm going through and covering this unit in class. So bear with me because I'm kind of learning about Hinduism as we go. But one thing I have known about Hinduism for quite a while, there is a plethora of gods, a great many. Like I've heard it said before that they don't even really have a limit to how many gods there are. They think there are thousands or tens of thousands of gods out there in the heavens, but there are some that are like the most notable ones. But if you were to go over to India, different towns and villages will focus on different gods and different parts of the story of Hinduism. So very different mindset. And also a thing to kind of keep in mind, we haven't talked about this so much, but typically I've heard that when you get closer to the equator, okay, where it's going to be hot on planet Earth, which India, the equator goes right through the subcontinent of India, the hotter the region is, typically the more diverse it is. They, like in terms of food, they have more spices and stuff because those regions are hotter and they have more bacteria growth. So they'd use different spices and things like that in their food to keep the bacteria growth down and to be safer. And it's just kind of a natural phenomenon that the further you go up to the poles where it's colder, things get more similar and the mindset of people becomes more like homogenized where everybody's kind of got a similar base level. But India, I've heard, and I think from what I know of it, this is fairly true, is probably the most diverse country on planet Earth. Now, if you went and looked at average Indian people out walking the street, to us, from an American perspective, most of them are going to look like Indian people and have a very similar look. But within the country of India, even though all of those people might be kind of ethnically the same, it is a extremely diverse population. There's like 1,000 languages that are spoken there. Now, English is kind of the language of business because it had been a British colony back 100 plus years ago. But it's a very, very diverse country, and the religion of Hinduism is also quite diverse, where they, like I said, have an almost unlimited or infinite amount of gods. So you can really look at the religion of Hinduism from a lot of different angles. We're just going to kind of do a quick overview and just try to get, a basic understanding of Hinduism. I attached a couple different videos here that I thought were pretty interesting and they definitely taught me a few things about the religion of Hinduism. Another thing that I think is an important thing that I just want to emphasize and point out, that in the Western religions, we have a linear concept of time, meaning that we think, there was nothing, and God created the universe and created the heavens. And the Western creation story for Islam, Judaism, and Christianity is God created the heavens and the earth, the seas, all over a 6-day period, and God rested on the seventh day, and that's why we have a 7-day week in the Western calendar. And then, you go through time, and you have those ancient Bible stories. There's Adam and Eve, and then we get on to Abraham and Moses, and then you get to Jesus, or Mohammed, depending on which of the religions you're looking at. And we kind of base our time there. And it's like in all three of those Western religions, we're building to an endpoint where God is going to end things and we're going to go to heaven. And it's a line that how time runs. And that's kind of how most Americans think of it: linear time in a straight line, where things build on top of each other. Well, in Hinduism and Buddhism, they don't view time like that. They view it as more cyclical, that things repeat and it's a pattern, and this has all happened before and it'll all happen again. And think of it almost like how we think of it in that straight line, but they think of it like how the seasons rotate and come back every year and the earth circles around the sun. That's how they view things. So they have a disconnect from us because they don't really view things as a start point, end point, and fill in the blanks in between. They view it as this stuff is all cyclical and it repeats and goes around. So I'm probably babbling a little bit, but those were some things that I wanted to point out. Now I'd like you to check out the two videos that I have attached that tie into Hinduism. And then also make sure this week you're keeping your eyes open. I will have a journal entry and a Q&A posted, so don't miss out on those. If you do have any questions so far up to this point in Hinduism, shoot me an email and I'll get back with you as soon as I can.